Hello, welcome to Global Business. I am Imewari Ohiemohai. Today we are at the African Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development. They call it the LSD Center. What has this got to do with global business? You'll be finding out later on the program. But what's buzzing in the business news? Of course, the most important news, apart from those who are talking restructuring, is the fact that the Paris Club refund has been given, a tranche of it has been given to the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. Of course, 243.79 billion naira shared among states. Now, that's the focus, or is related to the focus of what we're doing today on the program. You ask yourself how. Now 36 states governors have gotten, some of them gotten as much as 10 billion naira. Do you know how they're going to spend that money? Or you're just happy that your state now has money? How does it put food on your table? How does it affect your roads? How does it affect your salary? Because many states are unable to pay salaries. These are some of the issues we'll be treating with Dr. Otive Igbuzor, who is the Executive Director of the LSD Center right here in Abuja. And he'll be talking basically about budget and citizens. What has budget got to do with its citizens? Why should every Nigerian, and mark my words, I didn't say some Nigerians, I said every Nigerian. Why should every Nigerian care about the budget? Why should they be concerned about how they spend the budget, whether federal, whether state, or even local governments? You'll find out on the program. Join us after this break.
The Nigerian budget is your money. You have a right as a citizen to know how it is spent. Monitor your budget. Follow your money. It concerns you.
Well, like I told you before, we'll be talking with the Executive Director of the Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development. That's the African Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development, Dr. Otive Igbuzor. Now, Dr. Igbuzor will be talking to us about issues concerning budgeting. Why should a Nigerian citizen really know about his budget? I asked a few people what they know about budget, and everybody was like, has that one put 3 square meals on my table? And I said, but the budget is what puts food on your table. That's what many Nigerians don't know. Well, we'll be talking to Dr. Igbuzor, and Dr. Igbuzor will be telling us why you, yes, you need to know about your budget. Dr. Igbuzor, welcome to Global Business. Now,
thank you very much.
Paris Club, they just gave about 243.79 billion naira. And Paris Club refund is just some of the monies that come into states, apart from federation accounts. And of course, but all these start from a process, budget. And not many people know that the budget is very important. How important is the Nigerian budget or even the state's budget to a citizen of Nigeria?
The budget is actually very, very important for every citizen. In every country, apart from the constitution, the other most important document is the budget. And the constitution itself, even though important, is just the ground norm. What really determines whether a citizen will have security, whether a citizen will have access to education, whether a citizen will have light, or whether there will be food in the country is dependent on the budget. Because it is through the instrumentality of the budget that government will bring us programs and projects that will impact the life of the ordinary citizens. It is through the budget that roads will be tarred. So whether you will have roads, good roads or not, dependent on the budget. It's through the budget that railways can be put in place. It's through the budget that you have safety on air. It is through the budget that we determine the education. Even if you go to a private school, it is through the budget that there will be allocation to those who will conduct NECO exam or WAEC exam or JAM to enable people to go to university. In fact, the budget is what determines the quality of life of a citizen.
Nigerians who are watching now will be saying, what is this man talking about? Haven't we always been talking about budget? But definitely, I know there is a campaign to change the narrative of how Nigerians see the budget. It should not be when it gets to the National Assembly that people should start talking about the budget.
I agree completely. In fact, I work in a program, the Partnership to Engage, Reform and Learn, whose main purpose is to change how government plan, make policy, and make budget to provide services to citizens, and how citizens engage in this particular process. What we have found out is that citizens are not involved in the preparation of the budget. Because there are four main stages in the budget process. The preparation of the budget, which is done by ministries, departments, and agencies, the executive arm of government. The approval of the budget, the Appropriation Act, which is done by the legislature, the National Assembly at the federal level, the State Assembly at the state level, and the councillors at the local government level. And then the budget implementation, all those activities that are done to translate, and I think this is important, to translate the budgetary intentions, programs and activities into services for citizens. And then the final aspect of the budget is the budget reporting, the budget auditing, and the budget monitoring and evaluation. What we found out is that citizens only discuss the budget after it has been presented to the National Assembly or to the State Assembly or to the Council. It's even worse than the Council and State. There is more robust engagement at the federal level. But there need to be robust engagement at all levels. That's one thing we found out. That in many cases, bureaucrats just sit down in their offices and determine where projects should go. It shouldn't be like this. Ideally, there should be a mechanism, a process for getting the needs of the citizens into the budget process, which can be through either survey, needs assessment, or through platform for engagement with citizens, so that you will know what to put in the budget. And I think ideally too, the representatives of the citizens at the National Assembly, at the State Assembly, and at the local government should make input into the budget process. And if that is done, it will remove this constant challenge between the executive and the legislator, where the executive will sit down, send its budget to the legislator, and the legislator will insert their own projects. If you really want budget to impact on citizens, there are 4 areas that you must give high allocation to: infrastructure, health, education, and agriculture. What we have found out is that in Nigeria, they have not given the sufficient attention to these areas. If you look at the budget of Ghana, you look at the budget of Zambia, you look at the budget of Republic of Benin, you will discover that their budgetary allocation to education, all of these countries I mentioned, is more than 20%. But come to Nigeria, the budgetary allocation is about 6% to education. So it's important that the budget content is changed. That is one level. The second level is that over the years, we'll find out that in the early 1980s, the budgetary allocation to recurrent expenditure was 30%. Capital expenditure was about 70%. Now it has turned. Recurrent expenditure is really the expenditure you give to public officials to implement the budget. Like one of my colleagues, Ishaya, used to give that illustration. It's like you want to cook food, and the people go to the kitchen to cook, and they eat 70% inside the kitchen and bring 30% to the parlor. That is unusual. We must change the structure of the budget. Thirdly, citizens, the media, and the legislators need to participate in the entire budgetary cycle in terms of getting the needs of citizens into the budget, and in terms of engaging with the legislator during the appropriation and during implementation. Monitor. We have seen cases as civil society organizations monitoring projects where projects were conceived in Abuja, signed in Abuja, paid for in Abuja, and when we get to the community, you will not see evidence of the budget.
Okay, we'll take a break right now. After this, remember, talking about the budget, there has been a call for the 2018 budget already. In fact, that call circular came out on May 6th from the National Planning and Budget Ministry. You should begin to check it out. We'll be back after this break.
Of course, it's ideal for a citizen to participate in the budget planning and the budget implementing. It is very, very ideal, because that way you'll be able to know what the citizens really need. You understand? And because if you come to a community and you feel, oh, I've been given the power to implement budget on that community, you might end up giving them what they don't really want. So, but by meeting them, by being in sync with them, by understanding what they really want, you'll be able to utilize that budget, on the community.
As a citizen, what is important in my participation in the budget process of the country and my state is that I should be able to monitor projects that have been cited in my community to see whether those projects have been executed or not. And I should also be able to participate in budget evaluation in terms of the performance of the budget, to be able to give a concise and honest opinion as to the performance of the project, whether value for money has been achieved, or there is no value for money.
If we are not part of it, we don't know how much is involved. Because when we know how much is involved, we know that, okay, this is where so amount is going to this sector, so amount is going to sector, because it's budgeting. But when it comes to state level, they know they carry anybody along, because the way the situation on the critical now, we don't know how much state budget be. Even Nigeria, the federal level budget, we don't know. So now they should not just be doing it in the office. They should also come out to educate the people about this budgeting and planning, because when you plan with the citizen, there is a citizen that will tell you the situation of what is happening to the people.
You're making a budget planning is for the people of the country. So that's why we have people representing us. So in a situation whereby we feel they are not representing us, they should come to the grassroots, maybe by the local chief, and get our people involved.
Welcome back. Now, Dr. Igbuzor, you have talked about the citizens engaging government. How can the citizens engage government? Because this is, you've talked about where they had regional assemblies. We don't have that in this country. 2018 budget is on the way. How can citizens engage government to make sure that they participate?
There are many ways that citizens can engage government. But one of the greatest things citizens can do is, first of all, to organize themselves in their own organizations, in their communities, in civil society organizations, professional organizations, labor unions. They can begin to discuss with communities. What kind of services do they want government to provide at all levels? At local government levels, at state government level, and the federal government, and produce what in the civil society we call charters, of what they want. And then you submit these charters to the relevant government ministries and to your representatives at the local government level, at the state government level, and at the federal government level. That's one level of engagement. The second level of engagement is that, luckily for us, the present administration has embraced the open government partnership approach, which means that one of their commitments is to make the budgeting process open and participatory. And in line with this, the Office of the Budget of the Federation has already simplified the 2017 budget. And so citizens need to improve their knowledge of the budgetary process. That's the second way they can engage. Thirdly, the Budget Office has opened a citizens portal for the budget, where you can go and make inquiries and send requests and information to the Budget Office. So citizens can engage at that level. And then fourthly, when the draft budget comes up, citizens can engage by looking at the public hearings and making presentations to the National Assembly, the State Assembly, or the Local Government Council, as the case may be. And after the budget is passed, at the PEL, we have developed what we have called now Citizens Reporting and Tracking Template. Template that citizens can use to track items which are on the budget and send the report to the National Assembly, which they can use in their oversight. Because you see, in this country, we are faced with a lot of problems. But unfortunately, many people don't want to do what is required to solve the problem. They want a magic wand. They want a president, a governor, or local government chairman to come and say, okay, I will solve all this problem. It doesn't happen like that. And we have to understand, in every society, for you to have transparency and accountability of spending government money, 4 levels are required. And if these 4 levels, the work is not done, you will not have transparency and accountability. The first level is that the agency, the executive arm that is implementing this budget must put mechanism in place to ensure that the money budgeted is not stolen. The second level is citizens and civil society. The budget is a public document. They know what is budgeted. They must track it to ensure that it is implemented. And if it's not implemented, they blow the whistle. Even though this kind of whistle, you will not get money back. They raise an alarm that this money is in the budget, money has been released, and it has not translated. The third level is the legislature. At the local government council, at the state, at the federal level, they must do their oversight. And the fourth level is the media, which has access to the budget and look at the items and track them. Every society where you have good budgetary process, where the budget translates to service for citizens, these 4 groups must do their work.
Okay, now, I live on a road in Abuja here, and the road is very bad, very, very bad. And I know that in the last 10 years, they have made petitions to the FCT administration on this road. But yet the FCT administration says it's part of a plan that is ongoing, that it never comes to pass. So the citizen will be asking himself, what is the essence of speaking out, engaging with the government, when those in government still decide what they want to do?
We know of many communities. We actually know of many people who only on social media advocacy, government has taken attention to their roads. We know of roads only on focus by media such as AIT, channels, and NTA. Government will focus on those roads. So as long as we're alive, we must continue to engage.
It's funny that you're now talking about the 2018 budget. Now, let's look at the 2018 budget and, other budgets. There are allegations that there are projects that have been repeated in budgets, even though this project probably may have been completed. And citizens have been crying out. Yet nothing is done. Probably in the 2018 budget, it may be repeated again. So, how best can citizens really engage government to make sure government listens and takes action?
You know, that's what I said. There are stages of crying out. What you see many of that is complaints. There are many things you can do. You can make an FOI request to say how much has been spent on this project. Why is this project coming out consistently in the budget? There are many of them. You know, somebody was raising issues and talking about the East-West Road. You know, some people have mentioned the airport in Asaba, for instance. And today we are not even using the airport regularly. But over the years. So what we need to do as citizens is to continue to engage in this. Assuming it's your own money.
But is the budget really not our money?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm doing the analogy. Assuming it's your own money, your own personal money, and you are doing a project, you are giving it out every year, and what will you do? Will you say, okay, I will not talk again? No. Because budget is actually our money. We pay taxes, even though many people in Nigeria don't pay taxes. We pay taxes. And many people don't pay income tax. Let's demonstrate. But every Nigerian pays tax, which is part of the budget. Because when you buy a recharge card, there's VAT on it. And that VAT goes back to the budget. So it's actually your money. And we should be interested in how government spends our money. If we can get that alone, a lot of things will change in Nigeria. Because there are many anomalies in Nigeria. And all the countries that we are at the same level of development with, is it Malaysia, Indonesia? They are far, far ahead of us today because we have not been able to do things right. And there are many ways to do things right. The easiest way to do things right is to have a visionary leadership who will mobilize the people to attain a common objective. But there is also a role for citizens to play in ensuring that the leadership does the right thing. And citizens, and from my own experience of working in the development sector for about 30 years, I think that the only group that can really change this country are citizens.
Thank you very much, Dr. Otive Igbuzor, for coming on Global Business.
It's my pleasure.
We have been speaking with Dr. Otive Igbuzor, who is the Executive Director for African Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development. And we'll be looking at budget and its citizens. Next week is another day for Global Business. Join us Mondays, 2 p.m. Nigerian time. I'm Imewa Yogemokai. Have a beautiful week.